Hey there folks, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Well folks, it's St. Patrick's Day again. So, what shall I blog today? Well, let me tell you about a certain fairy tale that everyone knows about. Jack and the Beanstalk. It's a story about a poor farm boy who sold his cow for magic beans, which grew into a great big beanstalk. Then he climbs high into the clouds and finds a castle and a magic singing harp, a giant, and a goose or hen that lays golden eggs. It really is an enchanting story, and over the years there have been many adaptations. For example, Disney had Mickey Mouse and his friends tell the story in a film called Fun and Fancy Free. And I heard there's going to be a new version coming from Disney in 2018, which is called Gigantic. Also, there's been a version from 2010 which had Colin Ford as Jack, and a version that had Tom and Jerry, including a bland one called Jack the Giant Slayer. Also, the people who made the Puddle Book CD-ROM games made a sequel story called After the Beanstalk. The story was also referenced in films such as The Pagemaster, Happily Never After, Puss in Boots, and Into the Woods. Anyway, for today's blog, I've chosen a version of Jack and the Beanstalk that many of you out there may never have heard of before. But, is it any good? Well, let's find out. Released in Japan on July 20th, 1974, and in the United States on February 13th, 1976, the movie is, well, Jack and the Beanstalk. So, let's begin, shall we? When Jack climbs the beanstalk, he finds himself at a creepy castle in the land of the clouds, with a beautiful princess, people turned into mice, an evil witch hell-bent on becoming queen, and her slow and ugly son, the giant. Jack must save the princess from the evil witch's plans and help restore the land of the clouds to its former glory. So, what do I think of this movie? Well, why didn't I see this movie when I was a kid? I would have loved it. If you guys don't know what I mean, here's the thing. You see, like some of the films I talked about earlier on my show, I was first introduced to this version on YouTube back in the late spring 2010, and it wouldn't be until a couple years later, after I rented it from Netflix, when I actually bought my own DVD copy from Amazon. And in my opinion, this movie had an interesting new plot in this version, compared to most versions that have been done over the years. But, in order to explain more, let's move on to Mustang notes. Now, this movie is the first feature directed by Gaisaburo Tsuji and animated by Group TAC, and the second film under that arrangement, following as it did just previously produced half-hour educational film, The History of Mutual Aid, The Story of Life Insurance. The screenplay for the movie was done by Shuji Hirami. When it was released in the United States, it got distributed by Columbia Pictures. While this movie is in Japanese animation, I think it looks absolutely decent, especially with how each of the characters look, including Jack's farm and the land of the clouds. I also like the new characters and the plot twists that happen. The film's soundtrack includes examples of Kaio Kyoku pop, progressive funk and hard rock, enka, and other genres. But while I do like most of the songs in this movie, some of them to me are a mixed bag. Plus, the music sometimes does not mix well with the fairy tale scenario. However, the songs that I find memorable are, for example, the opening song, Morning Sun, where Jack is out in the woods to try to catch food, and the Miracle song, which starts out mysterious and sleek, then goes fast-paced as the beanstalk grows into the sky. But there is one song that I found pretty haunting, and that was the wedding song called Are You Happy?, which is sung by an enchanted preacher while Tulip and an entranced Margaret walk down the aisle. Now let's talk about the characters and their songs. Now, just so all you know, I'll be looking at the English cast. Our main character, Jack, is voiced by the late Billy Lou Watt, who voiced as Eustace's mom from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Now, in my opinion, Jack is pretty much the same as he is in the original story, but he's also brave, curious, and eager for an adventure. But he does do things that are a bit stupid at times, and it's not just the part when he trades his cow for magic beans. He also steals some gold, jewels, and the hen that lays golden eggs from the treasure room. But still, Jack is one character I could definitely team up with on an adventure any day. Also, Jack has 3 songs. The first is Simple Farmer Boy, which is sung in the armory room when he refused to fight the giant. The second being We Got No Worries, while celebrating his new wealth with his mother. And the third song is called Tulip, while he and Crosby are running around the courtyard, being chased by the giant and trying to outsmart him. Next we come to Jack's dog, Crosby, voiced by the late radio actor Jack Grimes. If you don't know what I mean, well, Grimes mostly uses his voice for Crosby's sound effects, growling and barking. And there is one time in the movie where Crosby sings at the moon, even howls at it during Jack's earlier song We Got No Worries, which I already talked about. Anyway, Crosby is more than just an old farm dog, but he does act human at times. He even accompanies Jack up the beanstalk to the land of the clouds, and does manage to save him several times when Jack is close to getting killed. In fact, Crosby does make me think of Scooby-Doo whenever he stands on 2 legs at times. Next up is Princess Margaret, voiced by Corinne Orr. Known for being in the Speed Racer show and the PB&J Otter show. Margaret is the heiress to her kingdom of the land of the clouds. When Jack first meets her, she says that her parents were destroyed by an evil witch, and that she'll be married the following day. Now, in my opinion, she's a really sweet character, despite being in a trance throughout most of the movie. Margaret's song is called No One's Happier Than I, which is sung not too long after she meets Jack. I find this song to be pretty sweet and touching, and I like it when Margaret rides on clouds while singing. The song even gets a reprise at the end of the movie. Next we come to the harp. Unlike in the original story, this harp doesn't seem to have a face, but she does talk through her strings. She serves as a wise fortune teller, telling Jack all that has happened in the land of the clouds years before he climbed up there. She even mentions that while Margaret is under a spell, she's quite normal at night while she's sleeping, and the only way Margaret can be awoken from the spell is for her to be kissed by someone brave and courageous. The harp also mentions that all of Margaret's servants have been turned into mice. So far, we only see 8 mouse servants, like the general, the minister, Mildred, and, well, the guards. But in my opinion, the most recognizable one out of all the mice in this film is this female mouse here. Now, we never actually learn her name, but other than that, she's first introduced after the beanstalk grows into the sky, and she goes down to find help. Crosby is the first character she meets, and she does take a liking to him. However, like all the mice, she can't speak very clearly, but she does do great with charades. The mice have a song too. Well, kinda. It's mostly humming while they go through the castle tunnels. Next we come to our secondary villain, Prince Tulip the Giant, also voiced by Jack Grimes. Now this guy is different compared to how he is in the story. I mean, yes, he still has an appetite for humans, but he doesn't talk too much. Heck, he doesn't even say fee-fi-fo-fum at all. Mostly he just grumbles and mumbles. I mean, he can act a little dim-witted and lazy, but he doesn't hesitate to go after his victims. Finally, we have our main villain, Tulip's mother, Madame Hecuba. Now this character is the reason why the Land of the Clouds is so dark and gloomy. She is the witch who disposed of Margaret's parents, and in order to officially take the throne, she has to have her son Tulip marry Margaret. So, she puts Margaret under a spell using makeup, which must be put on Margaret's face every day. However, she's not very motherly to Tulip. I mean, she yells at him a lot, which might be the reason why she got crushed by Tulip nearing the end of the movie. Hecuba has a song too, which is sung while she sets up the wedding, and in my eyes, it's not really the best villain song I ever heard. I mean, it's okay. I mean, just not great, just okay. Now, let's move on to my final words. Overall, this version of Jack and the Beanstalk is an interesting film. I do applaud it for giving us a nice new plot twist and a few new characters from Princess Margaret and the Mice, including Madame Hecuba, who made a great villain. The Japanese animation is pretty good to say the least. The music and some of the songs are nice and catchy to listen to, and the voice acting is surprisingly decent. If you folks haven't seen this movie yet, then I suggest you check this movie out. Either you can find it at your local DVD store, or you can probably buy it online, and I'm sure you and your kids will absolutely love it. I give this film a rating of 87% out of 100. Well, that's it for today, folks. Be sure to join me next time, because I have 3 requests to fulfill next time. Mustang Power. Oh, and have a great St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
No one's happier than I feel like reaching up to touch the sky. I'm riding on a cloud, I could sing out loud. I'm aglow and I know the reason why. No one's luckier than I. My happy heart inside is riding high. I'll tell the sun